Hello, welcome to my channel. This is Katarina and you're watching this video that about 5 things that you should never ever do in Croatia. Maybe you're a tourist or maybe you're just somebody who is thinking about this wonderful country, about relocating to this wonderful country. There are things that you should never do about in this country because Croatia is really a small country, and I'm sure very few people know about this country. And of course, every country has its norms, and there are things that you should know before you get to that particular country, whether you're visiting or even thinking about living in that particular country. And today we are going to talk about those 5 things that you should never ever do in Croatia. The first thing I'm going to talk about is thinking or saying to the Croatian that Croatia is an Eastern European country. There's nothing that annoys most Croatians when you call them Eastern Europeans, because they really get annoyed, because as a tourist, somebody who is coming from Europe, from the other side of Europe, Western Europe, you will think that anything to the eastern part of Germany, any country that is the eastern part of Germany, it is an eastern country. Croatia is not an eastern country, European country. It is actually the Central Europe. We call it kind of Central Europe, but we like to be called the Balkan countries. Anything that is after the countries that formed the Yugoslavia, and of course after Yugoslavia, then everything was separated. So then you find out that these are the Balkan countries. So Croatia is one of the Balkan countries. And of course, sometimes it can also get complicated, because when you say a Balkan country, then because of the history of the war, some people were still thinking about the war, and there was a lot of impact of those people who are still in the war, because it's not a long time ago that we had a war in Croatia. Then you'll find out that some people don't want to be called a Balkan country. Some people want to be called an Adriatic country. So then you can see there's a lot of kind of differences. And of course, just to be safe, just call it a Balkan country. It is going to be fine with most people. So then when you come to Croatia, don't just say Eastern European. It's not Eastern European. And that is many people make that mistake. Please don't make that mistake. Mistake number 2, or something that you should never do in Croatia, is actually talking about politics. I avoid politics with all my heart, because you'll find that in this country there are also people from different countries. Like there are Bosnians living in Croatia, there are Croatians who are Croats, and there are also Serbians who are Serbians, but then they originally lived in this country. For example, the village where I live in is a Serbian village, and that is why it's really a dying village, because most people fled during the war. So then you find out many people don't want to talk about politics. And if you talk about politics, you find yourself immersed in a dark hole that you'll never be able to take yourself out, because then people will tell you about history and about what happened. And of course, those people who lived during the war are still there, and the war is still fresh in their mind, because there's so many bad things that happened during that time, and you'll hear people narrating to you about those stories. And of course, you can be able to hear it, because, well, some grannies here, they still talk about it, but you avoid talking about it, because then it can bring some conflict between you and the people in Croatia. So it is better just to be neutral and not to say anything about the war, and just be you, just being curious and getting to know the people in this particular country. Because even right now you can still see the separation between these different communities, the Serbians and the Croats. You can still feel there's some kind of tension. So it's better just not to talk about politics. Politics is XX, so just don't talk about it. So something else that you should never do in Croatia, for you, if you're traveling, if you're coming to Croatia on holidays, for those people who are coming to Croatia on holidays, is not to take public transport, because once you take public transport, that is according to me, you don't get to experience the whole of Croatia, because of course with public transport you're moving from one part to the other. You don't have that time to get to look around and to get to enjoy the nature in Croatia, to get to enjoy the sea, the scenery views, because we have very, very many scenery views. You don't get to experience that. Instead, rent a car or just come with your own car and get to ride around, because then when you're able to drive around, you can be able to sit down and relax and actually watch. If you want to look at the nature of you, if you saw something interesting and you want to stop, you can just stop and maybe take a photo, or maybe just sit down and enjoy whatever you are doing. So then that it can be very, very interesting for you. Something number 4, something that I would not do in Croatia, and something that many people don't do in Croatia, is just to go to the sea, like swimming. You know, there's so many people, holiday goers are coming to Croatia to swim in the sea, and most of them, they come ill prepared, so you can find that you don't have the shoes to walk, like the water shoes. You don't have them to go to the beach or to go into the water. And you'll find out that many beaches in Croatia, they are rocky beaches. They're made of pebbles. They are very, very rough, so then your feet can become rough, and sometimes you can find the sea animals, the sea eagles. You can find them there, and of course you will get hurt and cut on your feet, and then you'll come out of the water with bloody feet, or with some wounds from the animals, the sea animals. Then, or you walk on the pebbles, and it is not very comfortable. So never do this in Croatia. Don't come to Croatia without the water shoes, or even if you come to Croatia without water shoes, please make a point of buying them, and then you'll be able to at least enjoy yourself in the sea. Something else that this is cultural in Croatia, you should never sit on actually on cold surfaces, because for example, you in a hot summer day, and then you want to sit on the floor, just just chilling out. That is something normal in many other countries, but in Croatia it is a belief that when you sit on cold surfaces, it can affect your reproductive organs. So then many people don't like it when you sit on cold surfaces, for example, the floor or other cold surfaces. So always put something like a pillowcase or something else, so that you can sit on that particular place. Something else, it is always good to tip your waiters and your waitresses, because then but it's very normal here to tip waitresses and waiters. So never forget to tip those people who are serving you, and those people who are giving you a very good service. It's always nice, because when I came from my own country, we don't tip in Kenya. It's actually something ballistic when you hear somebody has gotten tipped, or you are tipping somebody, then that you must be very rich, because it's a culture where many people don't have even enough money to tip. And even maybe if you go to a restaurant, it's a very cheap restaurant, and maybe you're buying a meal for €1, so you don't have much to tip. But here in Croatia, I found out it is very important to tip the waitresses and the waiters. Then of course they can be able to afford their lives, because then here they don't get as high salaries, so it is always good to give them something on top of what they get from the salaries. And of course, they'll be very appreciative, they'll be very happy. And next time you go to that particular restaurant, they'll remember you and they'll serve you with a very clean heart. Okay, this is the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you enjoyed. Please tell me whether you're going to come to Croatia and what you have been to Croatia and what things you thought that should never be done in this particular country. It's a wonderful country, and I hope you come here one day. See you next time.